Hi, it's Jennifer from Quiltin', Stitchin', and Kitties. Today I would like to show you one method of Quilt As You Go blocks that involves templates. So let's get going. So what is Quilt As You Go? Well, here's an example. This is a 3 by 6 inch rectangle. The backing becomes the borders on the front or sashing, whatever you want to call it. So here's another one. So at that point, once you finish this, then you sew them together. You quilt as much as you need. In this case, I probably might do a big X across it, and that's about it. So how do these templates work? Here's an example of a 3-inch template. The outside of it is the size of the backing per se that then will flip over. The inside is the actual size of the block that you're going to finish with. In this case, it's a 3-inch square. So the advantage of having these separate things is when you are cutting, you can cut them exactly to the size they need. So let me show you how that works. The one I'm showing you today is a hexagon, and it's much larger. And this hexagon is going to finish with a side length of 2.5 inches. That's how hexagons are measured. Okay, so here is a finished Quilt As You Go hexagon. Okay, to cut the background, I tape these together so I get a nice sturdy template to cut from. And then I usually stack 2 pieces of fabric together, and I always use a rotating cutting mat because of the fact that you've got these 6 sides to cut. It's a lot easier with a rotating mat. Then when you're finished, you've got the whole outside that you need. Same thing for the inside. You just basically cut it to the, the size of the inside of the template. Luckily, I have an AccuQuilt die that turned out to be 2.5, so I've been cutting it from here. Okay, so then once you get them cut, what do? Well, you also have to cut batting, and you have to cut the top fabric that you're going to be using. So when you're ready to put them together, what you do is you put your background fabric right side down. Then you place your outside template directly on top. Then you place your batting, which is cut to the 2.5 inch side hexagon. And then you place your top fabric. At that point, you put in some pins, as many or as few as you think you need. You just don't want your fabric to shift when you're sewing it together. Now, can you do this by hand? Absolutely. Can you do it by machine? Yes. So here's the great part about this. Now you pull this away, and this piece is perfectly centered in order to do the little borders now. It's very difficult to center something exactly. So the templates have turned out to be very useful. Okay, so now that you've got it pinned, what do? I've already done this side. Let me show you this side. What you do is you take the background, you fold it not quite to the edge of the good fabric. Then you finger press. So it looks like this. Then you fold it up again, making sure everything stays flat, and then you clip it. And now you're ready to sew your first side. You can hand applique or you can do it by machine, whichever you prefer. I hand applique, but sometimes I sew the blocks together by machine. Okay, so here's one that's been started. I've turned this down and I've started my hand applique stitch across the top. I stitch to the edge of the fabric. You can put a knot there if you want, you don't have to. And then I turn it And I do exactly the same thing now on the second side. Fold it close to the fabric, flip it over, and clip it. Checking that I have a perfect miter right on the corner of that hexagon. And then I go all the way around. The tough part, I think, or the toughest part, is when you get to the last side, you have to fold down and get two mitered corners on your edges. So you have to be careful with that. So it's just a matter of manipulating the fabric. And once you've done that, voila, you have a finished block. And like I said, you can hand applique or you can machine applique. Then you start stitching them together. And like I said, you can do that hand or machine, as big as you want it to be. I am making this quilt. The insides of these are all fabric from shirts that my husband used to wear, and he absolutely loved them. They were called Rin Spooner shirts. And the crazy thing about them is that they're like Hawaiian shirts, aloha shirts. Rin Spooner started this in, I think, the 50s or 60s, and he turned the bright aloha shirt fabric inside out so that the inside was showing, not the outside. And these shirts, these Ren Spooner shirts, are worn by Hawaiian officials. So my husband absolutely loved them. I've got a bunch of them, and I thought, well, I'm going to make a quilt with as many as I can. These alone I cut from just the short sleeves. So hopefully it'll turn out to be a nice, decent size. And that's it. I use bottom line thread from my hand applique, and I match it to the border. I use very lightweight batting, whatever you like, but I wouldn't make it too heavy unless you want the quilt to be really heavy. And that's Quilt As You Go. These templates I got at Missouri Star. They were made by Nicole at Daisy and Grace in England, and then Missouri Star started carrying them. So they have a nice selection of them. You might check out Daisy and Grace website sometime and see the different sizes that are available in England. But Missouri Star has quite a few, and they're very sturdy and they're very easy to use. And that's it. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy these videos. If you have any questions, never hesitate to ask. Throw them in the comments and I will take a look at them. Welcome to new subscribers, and thank you for already subscribed people. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Good to see you again. Take care. Have a wonderful day.
What, baby? How you doing? You good girl? Huh? You a good girl? Yeah? You gonna purr?